Hi everyone. The 2024 Olympics have come and gone, and I should have made this video weeks ago. But this is my channel, and I decide how late I am to the story. Usually a lot. Make sure to like and subscribe to this video. If you were online at all while the Olympics were going on, I'm sorry. You should be entitled to cash compensation, but you aren't. If you were to ask Twitter, you'd think that the Olympics were some sort of queer sports festival designed to insult Christians and straight people. So you can imagine my disappointment when it was just sports or whatever. I don't know if I've ever quite seen as much hysteric reactionary sentiment towards a public event like there was at the 2024 Olympics. It was a new low for super online blue checkmark accounts like John748934, who every day says new kinds of racism that haven't even been discovered yet. But nowadays that kind of stuff could get 40,000 likes or whatever. Twitter's a petri dish experiment to see how mutated racist brain rot can get. Why are there no ads on here anymore? Pepsi doesn't like this? Come on, Nickelodeon, come on, put SpongeBob on this. Zach and Cody, do the cruise sweepstakes. Put that on there. What's especially disturbing to me is how quickly these false flag narratives took even mainstream media by storm, and basically became right-wing discourse overnight, against the will of anyone with a brain. I wasn't even trying to watch the Olympics this year. I wasn't really paying attention to it, and I still couldn't escape hearing about something that was making conservatives piss themselves every week the games were going on. It was weird, and the worst part of it was none of the stuff they were mad about was even real. So in this video, I want to go over what happened with the 2024 Olympics, the manufactured conservative controversies, and why these narratives still underscore discussion about this year's Olympics and politics in general. Also, I'm going to have to be careful about showing too much Olympics footage. They will copyright strike me, and I will never be allowed to participate for the gold. I'm not trying to get disqualified, so sorry about that. I'm going to have to use short clips and mainly pictures to explain the Olympic controversies. And the main reason I'm making this video now is because I feel like enough time has passed for the complete pictures of what these controversies actually are to really come together, but also because I've seen some of these stories, as manufactured as they are, solidify themselves, and reactionary rhetoric going as high up as the Republican nominee for president. And he's still talking about it.
Bad,
No
but
politic here.
I
No
think
politic here.
I think Mali is going to destroy
No
them
politic here.
today.
Stop.
No, I'm just talking about football. I'm just talking about football.
Mali the best. No politic here. Okay?
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
No politic here, no politic here. The Olympics are not for politics. They are about sports, which can't have any trans people in them because that scares me. And of course, transgender gets injected into scenarios where it isn't relevant at all, exclusively by political cry bullies who want politics out of sports. This stuff is going too crazy. Look how far the left is going. Women are boxing. Donald Trump was vocally involved in the Olympic culture war controversies as soon as they unfolded on social media, and he will still lie and misgender the two women boxers that weren't women enough to the conservative hive mind.
And I'd like to congratulate the young woman who transitioned from a man into a boxer. You saw she won the gold medal. How about the young Italian, beautiful Italian boxer? She got in there and she didn't know what was going on, and she was a very good boxer, against other women. She didn't count on this. He's up here, boom. One little jab, whoa. She goes, nobody ever hit me that way. Then he goes, boom. And she said, okay, I had enough. It's crazy what they're doing.
Transphobia is deeply rooted in misogyny and is often weaponized against cis women to enforce gender conformity. The swarm of conservative outrage directed toward Iman Khalif and Lin Yuting is a perfect example of how women, all women, are perpetually scrutinized for existing in the subjective boundaries of rigid gender binary, and how those with more power will intellectualize their perverse reactionary anger to justify their hysteria. And Donald Trump leapt at the chance to galvanize around this trans panic.
They want to have men playing in women's sports. You saw the boxer today, the Italian female boxer, just
How is it
saying, I
possible
can't
that the
be
Olympic
two
Committee allowed
shots.
that?
2 shots. She pulled away. She said, I can't fight this.
40 seconds in.
But this wasn't the only controversy Trump felt the need to comment on. We know he loves to watch TV, so he was probably locked in on the Olympics with a fat 20-piece McNuggets and ranch and a Diet Coke, complaining about how the women don't look the way he wants. But Trump also spoke on the opening ceremony controversy, which was also totally manufactured by conservatives online. Pretty much immediately as this year's Olympics began, online grifters and liars were misrepresenting a tableau presentation as some mockery of the Last Supper. I guess the blue one is Jesus? They made him blue because of woke. And this was spun as an attack on Christians by Fox News and even the former president himself.
It's just saddening to think that we're in a time period where this could even be approved. I mean, to be mocking the Last Supper, something so sacred to so many Christians around the world, is a direct assault on Christianity. But all religions should be upset and hurt right now, seeing what happened at these Olympic Games. To think that you're giving a group like the trans community this much leeway to control what you show to folks and children all around the world. This is a mockery, and God will not be mocked. And we will reap what we sow from these type of events.
He's so wet. Again, I don't think any of these performers were trans. These are drag queens. I know this guy doesn't know the difference. And my question, before we get into what any of this actually is why the woke mob has made Jesus big and blue, and that's just the first of many strikes at the heart of Christian culture. Next, we're gonna make Moses green and give him tits. What then, Jesus? What would be the point of doing this to make people mad? What does this do? Most importantly, why would this make anyone mad? Unless they had some kind of other political agenda they're constantly seeking external validation to legitimize. But I'm sure that's not happening anyway.
Nikki Doll, which was one of the drag queens in the display defending the event, claiming they were depicting the Feast of Dionysus, not the Last Supper. How does that go over with you?
I pray for her. I pray for her soul. But I mean, if you look back, look at the policies that we're pushing. Men competing with women in sports. We're allowing individuals like this to make policy decisions across our nation and across the world.
The only real explanation I can think of for any of this is right-wingers can't see any other religious imagery of any kind without just thinking it's Christian, the only religion that exists. If that's not Jesus, I mean, no, I'm pretty sure that's him. I feel like you'd have to have never seen The Last Supper, like the actual painting, to mistake it for this. Not the same. Not even close, actually.
Have you watched any of the Olympics?
I thought that the opening ceremony was a disgrace, actually. I thought it was a disgrace.
The mocking of the Last Supper.
I thought it was
Catholics and Christians across the globe are outraged.
I mean, they can do certain things. I thought it was terrible.
Can you say at the next Olympics, if you're present, you'll have enough influence on the organizers that we won't be, insulting Christians?
We won't be having a Last Supper as portrayed the way they portrayed it the other night. I just think, look, I'm for everybody. I'm very open-minded. But I thought what they did was a disgrace.
I love Laura Ingraham being like, when you're president, can you promise the Olympics won't be woke? No, he can't promise that. What the fuck is politics to these people? She also tries to say that Christians all around the globe are outraged at this. I mean, obviously that does exclude the ones that knew what the fuck they were looking at. And millions of people have seen this interview. No retractions, no corrections, who cares? I love freedom of speech. I think Laura Ingraham should be arrested and sent to Alcatraz. So the most significant and long-lasting story from the 2024 Olympics was the manufactured outraged reaction to women competing in women's boxing. We cannot allow this. Two women, who both won gold by the way, were accused en masse of being transgender in order to cheat in boxing, which is the only reason to transition at all. Aside from the fact that weaponizing an accusation like this is disgusting in and of itself, to a reactionary conservative whose mind is too infested with bugs to see with their own eyes, being trans is the scariest thing you can be, other than Blue Jesus. What no one making these accusations conveniently seems to know is that the IOC rule for the Paris 2024 Olympics required any transgender athlete to have fully completed transition by the age of 12, which, wouldn't you know it, disqualifies basically every trans person. It's an extremely arbitrary cutoff meant to exclude trans people, and as a result, no trans people participated in the Olympics this year. Somehow, that didn't stop right-wingers from imagining them there, though.
Of course, it's awful, it's sick that we're glorifying male violence against women, But it's not surprising because it's the exact same things we've seen happening in our own country. The IOC is filled with the exact same weak-kneed, spineless people we have in the NCAA and YMCAs and Planet Fitnesses and these organizations who allow men into women's spaces. So you must remember a vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for this exact thing. That's the vote for erasure of women in women's sports. And the Biden-Harris administration and the entire Democratic Party swears up and down that they are the party for women. Well, if they truly are the party for women, why are they not out there fighting for women who are going up against these men at the Olympics?
Okay, this is like one of the most insane Fox News stories of all time. This is all fake.
Of course it's awful, it's sick that we're glorifying male violence against women.
Suddenly we're against violence against women. Why are we voting for Donald Trump then? What do you want? To give every loser boxer a participation trophy when they get punched too hard? All of a sudden Iman Khalif's a man because she punches good? You're too good at punching. You can't be a boxer. This isn't fair to me. Or women. I do partly feel bad for Angela Carini. Her words were taken very viciously out of context to attack Iman Khalif when she really didn't intend for it to turn out the way it did. There's no way she would have known.
So you must remember a vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for this exact thing. That's the vote for erasure of women in women's sports.
I also think it's just bizarre that this is so heavily America focused. Obviously it's Fox News, but it's still the Olympics. We're talking about an Algerian and an Italian boxer right now. I'm sure the, races of the two players have nothing to do with anything related to this story. I'm sure that's just a complete coincidence.
Despite failing that gender test by the International Boxing Association and being banned from an international tournament last year, Algerian 25-year-old Iman Khalif was okayed by Olympic authorities to compete.
What do you mean failed gender test? That's not what that is at all. He literally reads the quote out loud.
This test conclusively indicated that both athletes did not meet necessary eligibility criteria and were found to have competitive advantages over other female competitors.
That doesn't mean they're a different fucking gender.
Yeah, big controversy indeed at the Olympics. A boxer deemed a biological male beating an Italian female opponent.
Their idea of biological male is completely skewed, apparently. I hope you get sued for this. I hope you lose your wife and kids because you get sued so hard. And of course, half the time he's talking about Iman Khalif, Fox News is showing the wrong boxer.
Now, Algerian Khalif has competed for several years in other international tournaments, including the Olympics, but was banned last year due to, according to officials, elevated levels of testosterone.
Who cares? Who cares about anything? Everyone's asleep at the wheel. Everyone's phoning it in. Trans. I think I see a trans. Let's get him. Just truly a rabid way to behave. Uncivilized, barbaric, animal. Obviously, this was all based on nothing, and disturbingly could only be proven, I guess, with a genital reveal? I don't know what else they want. They're so certain their unhinged gender conspiracy is being proven true in every corner of their lives that they don't even ask questions. Just accuse and then believe themselves. And also anything that supports what they believe, no matter what, no matter the source or if it's real. It's not even legal to be trans in Algeria. So this doesn't even start to make sense when you have even 1% knowledge of what you're actually even angry about. Iman herself has actually spoken to how this targeted harassment campaign has affected her and her family.
إيلون ماسك كان هو مبالك من الأوائل اللي قام بهذه الحملة، كان من الأوائل اللي نشروا هذا الفيديو ومن تعرفوا زادت انتشرت. تبين لك انه كان هو بالك هو الاول اللي دار هذا الضجه او الحمله الاعلاميه المسعوره. نقول له انا لا تكرهني، انا واش درت لك؟ ما عادي ما درت لك يا اخي، ما تعرفني ما نعرفك، ما على باليش علاه قمت بهذا الشيء. نقول له درت هذا الشيء، راك ضريتني وظلمتني وضريت عائلتي وضريت امي اللي مسكينه كانت بالك في مرحله هذيك اللي كان يهدر فيها هو، وكانت مواقع التواصل الاجتماعي كلها تهدر عليا. كانت امي دائما تروح للمستشفى. ما على باليش العالم علاه أصبح حقير لهذه الدرجة.
It's unimaginable the kind of things that Iman Khalif must be receiving from fans of Elon Musk and Riley Gaines, among other scum of the earth Fox News talking heads. I mean, truly, no one should ever have to go through this, being berated and attacked simply for looking a certain way and performing a certain way. I mean, she won at boxing. I thought that was the point. No, she won too good, and now I think she's a trans because they're good at boxing. That's in their skill sheet. They have plus 10 unarmed skill power. I'm a gamer, if you couldn't tell. Khalif has also filed a cyber harassment lawsuit in France against Musk, Rowling, and others that spread misinformation about her. And I really wish her luck, because Iman and Lin Yuting are just two recent examples of right-wing social media harassment campaigns that are built and gain momentum on Twitter. From games journalists to actresses to Olympic athletes, online conservative hate mobs have repeatedly and desperately been targeting women and queer people in organized campaigns with no repercussions. And I personally think this is a bad thing. From the outside, a lot of these Olympic controversies, especially the gender ones, might seem really bizarre and out there, but the way conservatives construct these narratives, the lasting power they have, and what they really seek to do with them long term, I fear is much more sinister. Inserting transphobia into settings where it doesn't even make sense contextually is exactly what right-wingers do all the time. You can politicize and therefore legislate on just about anything from boxing to bathroom if you dream up a trans person doing something bad there. That fear of trans people infiltrating spaces other people have arbitrarily decided they do not belong is part of the phobia of transphobia. Fear of being deceived for some villainous gender scheme, gender crime, gender scandal. And that's still fear, no matter how you intellectualize it. But transphobia is a defensive kind of fear. It's anticipatory. Conservatives merely adjust time to time what is suddenly too sacred for trans people to ruin, whatever the topic of the week is. The Olympics having trans in them? That would destroy everything sports has worked for. What if someone identifies as a hand grenade and then blows up? That's real and that can happen. None of this fake outrage has anything to do with the Olympics or sports or athletic fairness or anything like that. It's about trans people, even when there aren't any present. But it shows that this mass hysteria is elevating to expect transgender deception, gender espionage. Personally, I'm disturbed by the weaponization of trans identity, regardless of how unserious so much of this boxing controversy is. I'm sure it contributes to the polarization of people who otherwise might not ever think about trans people in their lives. But the association of trans women with deception, cheating, and violence is demonstrably dangerous. Even if it's delivered in the most ridiculous possible narratives, it's unnerving as a precedent for rabid harassment of a cis woman. But now, the Republican narrative surrounding Iman Khalif is a cynical, hateful talking point that's already assimilated into the tapestry of conservative alternate history. Apart from the wokeness paranoia, this year's Olympics was plagued, like most, with various public controversies. One of the most significant ones was the lack of disqualification for genocide. Israel's genocide is nearing a full year of ruthless, harrowing escalation in both Gaza and the West Bank. As such, many people thought it would be appropriate to bar the apartheid state from participating in the Olympic Games, but unsurprisingly, the requests fell on deaf ears. I mean, for historical context, Nazi Germany hosted the 1936 Olympics. They were literally opened by Adolf Hitler, and Germany was only ever banned after the war in 1948, along with Japan. In 1972, then Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, was banned for segregation policies, and South Africa was banned from the Olympics from 1960 all the way to 1992 for its apartheid. But again, the commission seems blind, deaf, and mute on an ongoing genocide and apartheid state. Who and what is banned from the Olympics is often a very explicit political decision. Trans people, not allowed. Genocidal nations, totally fine, no restrictions, no politic here. Simultaneously, the Olympic Commission also approved a convicted child predator to perform. But you know what they did ban? Hijabs. Even for athletes. Nah, that's fucking sick, man. Thanks, France. God forbid someone feel uncomfortable. I would say the Paris doo-doo river is a controversy, but I think the fact that it was cleaner during the Olympics than it normally is more newsworthy than controversial. No, good for them. There's less doo-doo in their water than normal. Good job, France. You really got your fucking priorities straight. There's no doubt that currently and historically, social media has favored right-wing ideologies and amplifies them, especially now, to maximize impressions. And this bias has definitely broadened over time and almost been gamified thanks to Twitter Blue X Premium everything app, not only amplifying right-wing interests, but incentivizing and rewarding those interests being posted repeatedly. This, I think, skews the kind of content people encounter online pretty significantly, including people in the media, and seeing some of these reactionary posts with tens or sometimes hundreds of thousands of likes must compel certain outlets like Fox News to jump in on the story wholeheartedly, like it's a real story. But it's not. In my head, I call this the Hawk Tuah effect. The story trickles down from the most unbearable kind of elitist shill that posts more frequently than a 14-year-old Swiftie, and whether it's real or not, or whether it's funny or not, everyone now has to deal with what these guys like, just flooding their social media. Social media is probably doing really good things for society. Discounting the likely botted likes, the way social media snowballs reactionary hallucinations has a tangibly damning effect on the media and people's minds in general. Brain rot is real, and it comes in a lot of different forms. Skibbity toilet, immigrants eating cats.
They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
These are the same amount of real, and both are the result of extremely online behavior and are about Ohio. This new wave, social media focused information pipeline isn't just some anomaly in internet culture. This is a stream of information that we literally saw in action during the recent presidential debate. Reactionary delusion lifted from Twitter, amplified to the national stage, essentially overnight.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in.
From fictional to material. That's bad. And I don't think this is the only time this is going to be weaponized during this election. The liberal media also has very few answers to this. Claims like women being secretly trans or immigrants eating pets aren't met with contentious critique or systematic dismantlement by mainstream outlets. These aren't even being labeled the cynical, desperate lies that they are. They're treated as misinformation or false claims that we really tried to verify, but we couldn't. Even the most fiery MSNBC journalist simply reacts with disbelief and dismissal rather than truly recognizing the damage what he's saying is actually doing and discussing the underlying systemic problems working class Americans, undocumented or otherwise, collectively face. The Republican Party runs on wedge issues and distractions so they can deregulate big business, lower corporate taxes, and privatize public utilities, all of which economically devastate the vast majority of people in America for the direct benefit of a wealthy elite. The liberal journalist class plays political theater with Republicans up until a certain point, and in doing so are complicit in maintaining the facade that border security is a genuine issue for Republicans, rather than a catalyst for racial violence and expanding the police state. Trying to tie in anti-trans culture war into immigration might sound silly, but it's not an accident.
Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison.
It's all part of the same dehumanization marginalized people face in America. The process of this dehumanization for trans people and immigrants alike is unfolding on both social media and mainstream media. And so far, institutional opposition to this rhetoric fails to effectively dismantle it. Let's all hope for better. Come pray with me. Press the like button. But more or less, that was the woke Olympics. It was a really weird time in the media. I'm a little freaked out by it, to be honest. I stream almost every day on Twitch if you want to catch me talking about this stuff live on stream, and you can say hi in the little chat. And thank you again so much for watching. I'll see you in another video. Bye.